So I got a call this morning from somebody looking to order a cookbook, and we got talking about weight loss. And there are a couple of things that people can do to help them to lose weight that are just common sense and they're so easy to do. And I thought I would share them with you today because they are so simple. And these are supported by the USDA My Plate, Harvard's Healthy Eating Plate, Kaiser Permanente's Plate, and other health-related organizations that half of our meal should be fruits or non-starchy vegetables. By non-starchy vegetables, I mean vegetables that don't contain a lot of starch, and that would be things like tomatoes and lettuce and green beans and cucumbers and green leafy vegetables. Starchy vegetables would be things like potatoes and corn. So when you think about your plate, look at the whole round plate or the whole meal in general and think, is half of my volume fruits or vegetables? Now, a practical way to think about this is before you start any meal, have a nice large salad without a lot of oily dressing on it, or a relish tray with some healthy dip, or a couple of pieces of fresh fruit. It's that simple. And the reason why this helps with weight is because fresh fruits and vegetables are naturally low in calories. Now, I'm not talking about avocados and coconuts, but the general fruits and vegetables are very low in calories. So what happens is you're taking that little tummy of yours, that's about 4 cups, and you're starting to fill it up with things that take up space because they have a lot of water in them, but they don't have a lot of calories, which means there's not much room left in your stomach for those more calorie-dense foods that would be more likely to put the weight gain on. Now, another important tip is when we eat. Let me start by telling you a little story that my son-in-law told me. They are missionaries in Thailand, and in the village that they lived, there were many of the people in the community that raised cows. And in the morning, they'd bring their cows out to the field, and in the evening, they'd bring their cows back. And all the cows in the village ate rice straw. So my son-in-law noticed one day that one man in the village had cows that had a little more meat on their bones than the other cows. So he asked him, "What's your secret? Why are the other cows in the village thinner than your cows?" And he had an amazing answer. "I feed my cows at night." Night eating. Why is that such a big deal? Well, just think about it. Before you go on a trip, do you put the fuel in the car or do you wait till after the trip is over to put gas in the car? Well, of course you fuel it first thing so that you can use it up on your trip. Now, if you eat a good breakfast in the morning, you are putting fuel into your tank that will be burned up. If you wait and put the fuel in at night, when you're settling down, you're going to be sleeping, those calories are more likely to be stored as fat. So another example. A woman who comes to some of my classes told me that she had been eating a plant-based diet, and she told me what she was eating, and indeed she was not eating a very calorie-dense dietary. So I asked her, "When do you eat?" Well, her husband got home 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, and that's when they would sit down and have their big meal of the day together. I suggested that she not eat after 6 p.m. So she decided to give it a try because she had lost a little bit of weight, but then she just totally stopped losing weight, even though she wasn't eating a large or excessive amount of calories. So she stopped eating after 6 p.m. or early in the evening, and then she just sat down with her husband and talked with him while he ate his dinner. The pounds started coming off again. When we eat can be almost as important as what we eat. So when we eat also involves eating in between meals. Now, there has been some talk that people should graze all day long, and I personally think that there are a few problems with that. One is it's hard to get balanced nutrition that way. You're probably not keeping track of, are you eating whole grains, an adequate amount of fruits and vegetables and legumes if every 2 hours you're putting something in your mouth. It's much easier if you're thinking 2 or 3 times a day, you're looking at the meal that you're eating, and then you're able to judge if you're eating a balanced diet. This is also called intermittent fasting by some people, when you're choosing times to eat and times not to eat. Now, in my blue zone, the thing that is strongly suggested is 2 meals a day. Time restricted eating is what some people might call it. And it's very good if you can make breakfast the large meal of the day and then make lunch a medium meal of the day. And if you're going to eat supper, make it a small meal of the day. And some people say eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and supper like a pauper. Or breakfast is gold, lunch is silver, and supper is lead. Intermittent fasting is something that has been in the science recently as something that's very beneficial. Now think about your cells in your body. They absorb nutrients, but they also need time to do some house cleaning. And it's the same with our stomach. Our stomach is like any other organ. It needs time to rest. So it's good if we're taking in food at certain times, and then the stomach has a chance to properly digest the food, properly empty the stomach, and then to be clean for a little while and have some rest. And that especially goes when you're going to bed at night. If you go to bed with a tummy full of food, the food is not going to digest as well, because when you're sleeping at night, all your metabolic processes go down. Your heart rate goes down, your breathing rate goes down, and your body is looking to rest. So you don't want to have food in your stomach when you're trying to sleep. Back in the 15th century, the word breakfast was coined. And what it actually meant was break fast. It was a time when we broke our fasts that we were doing over the night while we were resting. And so think of breakfast as breaking your fast. And it's a good time to eat a good hearty meal. The stomach is prepared for a good meal because it's had a chance to rest. It's hopefully empty, and you can put good food into it. Now, one thing that would be an additional help would be when you wake up in the morning to drink a couple of glasses of warm water to also help flush out and clean out your stomach, and to get some warm fluid going down into your intestines. This also can help a lot with constipation. Now, one thing that you can do that would help you with intermittent fasting or choosing not to eat in between meals would be to eat enough food at your meals and eat foods that'll also stay with you. So that would include things like whole grains. So get a whole grain bread where the first ingredient is whole grain wheat, or eat brown rice, or when you choose your breakfast cereals, choose things like oatmeal or other things that are made with whole grains. Also, having some legumes can be really satisfying and stay with you. So have maybe a half a cup of beans with your breakfast or with your lunch. And that will help to slow down the digestion of your food because of the fiber. So again, that will stay with you a long time. You can also add some fats during your meals, which will also help to sustain you in between meals. And so if you're eating a breakfast, maybe you want to put some flaxseed or chia seed or walnuts or almonds or pumpkin seeds in part of your meal, either on your cereal or make baked goods with those things in them. It's better to get your fats from whole foods than from refined oils, which are devoid of nutrients and are basically just a bunch of calories. Whereas seeds and nuts have other nutrients in them that will also help to feed your body as well as sustain your satiety level during the day. Sometimes people say, well, I just can't eat enough at a mealtime to sustain me from breakfast to lunch or from lunch until the evening. If you will not drink with your meals, you will have more room in your stomach for food. The time to be drinking would be maybe starting about an hour after you eat until about a half an hour before you eat again. So hydrate yourself really well with plenty of water in between that time. And if you're not used to drinking water, I suggest putting out your bottled water or measuring out your water to make sure you're getting 8 glasses a day or more, and drink that. Have a couple of cups in the morning when you get up, 2 or 3 cups between breakfast and lunch, 2 or 3 cups in the afternoon, and a little bit in the evening. You don't want to drink too much so you're not up going to the bathroom all night long. But getting your liquids at times other than your meal will leave room so that you can eat enough food to sustain you. Your stomach has stretch and weight receptors. So if you put a lot of fluid in your stomach during the mealtime, you will not be able to eat much food because your stomach's already saying, I have enough weight in there and I don't want any more. And some people may think, well, that's a great way then to lose weight. I'll drink a lot of liquid with my meal and then I won't eat much food. But the problem is the liquid will go out of your stomach and you're going to find yourself hungry later in the day. So drink in between meals, first thing in the morning, then in between meals, a little bit in the evening, and then focus on whole foods with all that fiber and all that water that come naturally in them that will sustain you through the day. So 2 tips: half of the meal, fruits or vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, and then eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and supper like a pauper. Those 2 things will set you on a path to have a good, healthy weight. It's been my pleasure to serve you. God bless you.